Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughan for Sam Sports Report. In college football, today's game, Mizzou will play K-State right about now. Mizzou will need one of their best performances in order to beat K-State. Drinkwitz, if he wants to be there in the future, he needs to win this game. He probably needs about 7-5. Said be 7-5 to keep his job, or 8-4. Some people are saying 7-5 be fired. The line is 4. I'm looking at Mizzou losing by 14. It's not just a good matchup for Kansas State for Missouri. Just not a good matchup. They'll seem way over dominated, and I know it's only a 4-point game and it's at Missouri, but you're talking about a quarterback that's not very good. But the players to watch out for: Will Howard has a very good season. And wide receiver Luther Burden has had a great season and showed why he's the number one recruit so far. And he's in his sophomore year after having a disappointing freshman season. Ryan Garcia for Kansas State averages 75 yards. Kansas State remains number 15. Mizzou remains unranked. Kickoff from Mizzou is at 11. It's good to see the local teams back together again. Kansas State is favored by 4. Kansas has been almighty this year as they dominated in both their wins. A good win over Illinois last week, and now they come into Nevada, who is not a very good team. And they got Jalen Daniels on their side for the KU Jayhawks. Kickoff is at 9:30. Road game. That game has already kicked off at 9:30. Road game, and that game kicks off at 9:30 tonight. Kansas is favored by 28. In order to get that game, watch the CBS Sports Network. Now we move on to Colorado. Expectations have been very low for many people talking about Deion Sanders. It's either he's going to fail or he's going to succeed. Yet he is 2-0 with big winning coming up over national championship runner-up TCU in a Big 12 school, and also a Big 10 victory over Nebraska. Deion Sanders is bringing it to the Big 12 next year. They're off to a 2-0 start. They'll play a much mismatched game. Colorado State in this game. Colorado is favored by 25. It's a 9 p.m. kickoff. Mississippi State and LSU will meet up. LSU had a step back in week 1 after beating. LSU had a step back in week 1, losing to Florida State pretty handily after the game was close in the first half. Gambling, they beat up on pretty good, which you expect them to do 72-10. Players to watch out for: Will Rogers and the season. And Mississippi State beat Arizona down to the wire. Players to watch out for: LSU's Jaden Daniels, who has 6 touchdowns and 1 interception, and has thrown the ball great. He has over 615 yards in just 2 games. Quarterback Will Rogers. Stellar game, but has no INTs and 5 touchdowns. I'll take LSU to win, but Mississippi State to cover at home. North Carolina and Minnesota both are 2-0. I think Keatsman has struggled at the quarterback position. 2 picks and 1 touchdown. Drake Meyer has struggled at the position as well. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Running back Dason Taylor has had a good game in his first 2 games. He had not a great game in his first game, but he had 234 yards for LSU against Appalachian State for North Carolina. In overtime last week, and final in 2 overtimes last week, was North Carolina and Appalachian State, but beat LSU by 14. I'm going to take Minnesota in the points, but I'm going to take Carolina in the game. 31-27 over Minnesota. Line is 7. Kick is at 2:30. Florida and Tennessee. Florida dropped their first game against Utah. They won over McNeese easily. Defense has been good, so Tennessee defense has been good for Tennessee, only giving up 13 points. Tennessee to win and cover, line is 5.5. Rest of the games for the SEC and top 25 games. Florida State will play Boston College. That game kicks off at 11. Penn State will play Illinois. That game kicks off at 11. LSU will play Mississippi State. That game kicks off at 11. Utah State will play Webster. That game kicks off at 1. Central Michigan will play Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 34.5. Kick is at 1:30. Georgia versus South Carolina. That won't be much of a game. Kick is at 2:30. Alabama, South Florida, 2:30. Alabama favored by 34. San Diego State, Oregon State. Oregon State 2-0. San Diego State 2-1. Kick time is 2:30. Oklahoma, Tulsa. Not much of a game there. 28 is the line. 2:30. Minnesota, North Carolina, 2:30. Northwestern, Duke, 2:30. Duke should win that game. Iowa, number 25, will square off against Western Michigan, 23. Iowa, 2:30. We've got the 3 o'clock Fox game. Ohio State versus Western Kentucky. Ohio State is favored by 29.5. We've got Washington State, number 4, and Michigan State is having a bunch of coaching problems. That game kicks off at 4. Northern Colorado, Washington State, 0-2 team. Northern Colorado, 2-0 team. Washington State, that game kicks off at 4. North Central and UCLA, 2-0. That game kicks off at 4 from UCLA. Tennessee and Florida, Tennessee number 11. That game kicks off at 6 on ESPN. Georgia Tech and Ole Miss, SEC Network, 1-1 Georgia Tech, 2-0. Ole Miss, 16 points in the line. Texas and Wyoming, Longhorn Network, 30 is the line. Oregon and Hawaii, Oregon is 2-0. Hawaii is 1-2. Oregon's 38 points ahead, or 38 points favored by. In Colorado State and Colorado, 23 is the line, 9 o'clock. And in the Big 12, Long Island will play Baylor. That game kicks off at 11. Iowa State in Ohio, that game kicks off at 11. Villanova and UFC, 5:30. That game kicks off at 5:30. Cincinnati and Miami, Ohio, 14.5. That game kicks off at 6. Southern Alabama and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State by just 7. That game kicks off at 6 o'clock. Texas Tech and Tulsa State. Texas Tech is 0-2. Tulsa State is 2-0. That game kicks off at 6 from Texas Tech. BYU and Arkansas. Arkansas is favored by 8. That game kicks off at 6:30. West Virginia and Pittsburgh. West Virginia is favored by 2.5. 6:30 is the game time. Both teams 1-1. And University of Houston kicks off against TCU. TCU is favored by 7 because it's 7 on Fox. And in the SEC, Texas A&M will kick off against University of Lamont. That game kicks off at 3. Samford will kick off against Auburn. Auburn's 2-0. Samford is 2-1. Kentucky will play Arden, 6:30 ESPNU. That does it for the SEC, Big 12, and top 25 games, and some of the local games, and a couple of stories for the NCAA football today. This is Sam Vaughan for CM Sports Report.